welcome the arrival of our keynote speaker, and we'd like to announce that at exactly 4 p.m. we shall kickstart this event. Thank you. Please, we're about to start. We would like to advise us to please take our seats as we are about to start the event. Please take your seats so we can start in earnest. Thank you. We will start at exactly 4 p.m. on the dot. Please, for the last time, we'd like us to take our seats as we shall kickstart this event in no distant time. And by that, I mean exactly 4 p.m. on the dot. Please take your seats so we can have some quiet. Please, may we be upstanding as we welcome His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Ndubisi Imba,
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be our symbol, that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle or nod, and this we count as gain. To pass unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to be plenty, and Nigeria may be blessed.
Thank you so very much. While still standing, I'd like us to please take the NBA prayer. And to do that, please join me to make welcome Professor Yusuf Ali, SAN, is also the Kulia Giri of Ilori, Kwara State. Welcome, sir.
The NBA prayer. Almighty God, our Creator, we pray you to be with us in all our deliberations and to direct our endeavors so that we shall continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow men, and our country. Amen. Thank you.
Please be seated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Bright Sonari Otobo. I am a Deputy Director of the River State Ministry of Justice, Department of Public Prosecutions. I will be your anchor for today, and my co-anchor will be Ebiere Emanuela Ekpese, the National Publicity Secretary of the Assistant National Publicity Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the opening ceremony of the Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association 2025, themed Stand Out, Stand Tall. We'll also we acknowledge the arrival of the Sultan of In the course of this event, there will be pictures taken, there will be videos had. We would like to use this medium to seek your consent, as those are for the sake of keeping memorabilia and promoting the annual event. Thank you.
Good evening once again. I welcome you all to the opening of the Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. We'd like to acknowledge everybody here present, particularly His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, His Excellency Peter Umba. You're welcome, sir. Also in our midst is the Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Honorable Ifeanyi Osai, also one of us. Would like to acknowledge the presence of the Sultan of Sokoto, who is doubling as the chairman of this opening ceremony, His Eminence Saidi Abubakar III. Ladies and gentlemen, also please make welcome the keynote speaker, His Excellency, Comrade Julius Malema. He is the president and founder of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Please let's give him a round of applause. We'd like to welcome also the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Honorable Justice Kudirat Kekere Eku, ably represented. She's ably represented by the Honorable Justice. Okay, so she's ably represented, but we're yet to get the name. We would acknowledge when we get that information. We also like to welcome the President of the Court of Appeal, the Honorable Justice Monica Donga Mensah, represented by the Honorable Justice Daniel Khalil from the Rivers State Judiciary. Can we make him welcome, please? We'd like to specially welcome and recognize the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mazi Afam Josiah Osigwe, SAN. We also would like to acknowledge the presence of past presidents here, past general secretaries. Please let's give them a round of applause as well. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the justices of the various courts, the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, High Courts, everyone present. Can we make them welcome as well? We would like to welcome all our delegates, participants, including those of us watching online. We welcome you. We welcome the branch chairmen, secretaries from across the country. Our international delegates, you're welcome to this opening ceremony. Please, can we give them a round of applause, please? So please do give yourself a round of applause. I'm sure you've been having a great time from Friday since we started to this time, and so we welcome you especially. Before we invite the Sultan of Sokoto, who is doubling as the chairman of the ceremony, we just want to inform Mr. Comrade Deji Adeyanju to please get ready to introduce the keynote speaker. And so, without further ado, we humbly welcome the Sultan of Sokoto for his opening remarks. Please make him welcome. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. Your Excellency, the very able and indefatigable Governor of Enugu State, the representatives of Chief Justice, President of the Court of Appeal, the President of this special assembly, because he is the only one called President here. This is your constituency, and you've dragged me into it today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I greet you in the best form of greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Let me say how really delighted I am to be part of this year's MBA conference and to relish this company of learned people, as you lawyers always refer to yourselves. In the tradition I represent, learning is the highest endeavor on earth. As many of you here would know, the first command in Islam is to read. Read is the first command in Islam. And as our forefathers, the founder of the Sokoto Caliphate, rightly said in one of his books, a man without learning is like a country without inhabitants. The finest qualities in a leader, in particular, and in people in general, are the love of learning, the desire to listen to it, and holding the bearer of knowledge in the greatest respect. Unquote. The business of governance and the settling of disputes, the Sheikh added, requires outstanding learning, keen insight, and extensive study. As the adopted and coerced chair of this occasion, and other distinguished learned people here, you can see why I will be very, very comfortable in this learned ambience and facing all of you. The MBA Annual Conference is a very significant event in our society because it is the largest gathering of lawyers who shape the practice of law and ensure that the ultimate objectives of law are realized in society. Law, as you know more than I do, is crucial to society because it maintains social order by setting standards for behavior, promotes justice by protecting rights, enjoying duties, and providing a framework for resolving disputes, and facilitates economic and social progress by providing a predictable environment for transactions and enabling social change through legislation. Without good law, societies risk descending into chaos, as there would be no established way to govern relationships, enforce rules, or ensure fairness and accountability. I understand that the theme for this year's conference is to stand out and stand tall. And when I say tall, no matter how short you are very tall. I'm not referring to the governor. would like to believe that by this theme, you wish to deliver on the expectations of society on your professional mandate. This is spot on. Today, justice is increasingly becoming purchasable commodity, and the poor are becoming victims of miscarriage of justice, while the rich commit all matters of crime and walk the streets scot-free. That by this theme, you are resolving to stand out and tall on the scale of justice is certainly highly commendable. In other words, you are resolving to uphold the highest principles of the rule of law, precisely to ensure that everyone, including those in power, are subject to and accountable under the law, and that the law is applied fairly and equally, so that no one operates above the law. If you are able to do this, you would have addressed the core of the crisis of governance in this country. Law and learning are inseparable. At the core of the study of law is the knowledge of values, and justice is one of those core values that law is supposed to achieve. Justice is the foundation of stable human societies, and laws must endeavor to target justice as the ultimate objective. Going through the massive literature of the scholars of the Sokoto Caliphate of yesteryears, justice comes across as a core value of the establishment of any polity. It is worth recounting the one verse of the Holy Quran that keeps inspiring scholars of the Sokoto Caliphate in their discourse on law and society. And I quote that verse in the Holy Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Believers, be upholders of justice and bearers of witness to truth for the sake of Allah, even though it may be against yourselves, against your parents and kinsmen, or the rich or the poor, for Allah is more concerned with their well-being. Do not then follow your own desires, lest you keep away from justice. If you twist or turn away from truth, know that the Almighty Allah is well aware of all that you do at all times. I understand that this verse you find at the entrance of the Harvard Law School in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in USA. During this annual conference, it is my hope that you also find time to address some of the issues that are pertinent to the future of our society. These three things are particularly important. You need to continue the efforts of law reform so that we can gradually decolonize our laws, bringing them closer to our values, our culture, and our history for relevance, efficacy, and sustainability. It is also my hope that we can find time to address the issues of social justice so that we can address the glaring inequalities in our societies and create a more integrated society with the kind of cohesion that can see us through these very tough times. The other issue is the access to justice. This is also very important, considering the increasing costs of litigation and the consequences of exclusion in matters of justice for the weak and the vulnerable. Most conflicts around the world were precipitated by exclusion, which elicits resentment and propels people to conflicts that I'm very aware of, having my military background, where I spent 31 years in the military. And my first posting from Nigerian Defense Academy was Enugu State. January 1978. I'm sure so many of you were not born by then. I was in Nsukka, and I find Enugu State as a home for me, and I always feel glad to come back. And that's why when the governor called me and said, "Relent, I will be coming," I said, "Inshallah." And inshallah means God willing. But one of our top emirs, a retired Major General Emir of Zulu, passed on last week. So I had to stay back and attend the burial ceremonies and other issues. When I called the governor and told him, "Excellency, I won't be able to make it," and he heard him say, "Oh, no." So I said, "Oh, yes." Because whenever there's a no, there must be a yes. And we are the ones that always believe things are possible. And as Almighty Allah would have it, this morning, after I finished what I was doing yesterday, I called the governor. No, I called the president first. I said, "Guess what?" He said, "Well," I said, "I'll be coming, inshallah, this afternoon." Since the opening is at 4 o'clock, so I finished what I was doing yesterday, I called the governor. No, I called the president first. And I believe we should all thank God for what the governor is doing, making Enugu a more habitable place for all of us. And as I said, I'm home. And I remember some 5 years ago, I visited Enugu at the invitation of the then governor, Buruburu. And I had a very good time going around Nsukka, my own city where I started work. And definitely, I really felt accepted, welcomed, loved, and I felt I shouldn't even go back to Sokoto. That's the Nigeria we've had some 40, 50 years ago. We must bring that Nigeria back. And you are the ones. You are the ones here who will do that very hard work, because you are the ones who interpret laws in the courts and whatever. So I'm happy to be here. I thank Almighty Allah that I'm able to make it. And I thank all of you and thank the President who personally came to Sokoto to invite me. And now I'm happy I have not disappointed you, and I have not also disappointed my own governor. So let me wish you a very engaging and fruitful conference. We look forward to reading the communique. We look forward to reading the communique. We look forward to reading the communique and implementing it. That's one of our big problems in Nigeria. We do not lack very good policies and whatever. What we lack is implementation. So you here must swear by the laws you all know about. We will implement whatever you come out with. And with this, I thank you for listening. I thank you for the invitation, Mr. President and the Governor, and I thank you for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Can we give another round of applause to the Sultan of Sokoto? We are grateful, sir. We're happy to have you here with us. And so I was telling Mr. Bright Utobo that if he was not in this kind of environment, I probably would have asked him for a selfie. But of course, I can't do that here. This is my very first time of seeing him. I'm sure there are a lot of us like me here. Thank you so much, sir. So earlier, while we're doing the introductions, I announced that the Honorable Justice Daniel Kaliu was from the Asaba division. No, from another division, but he's actually from the Asaba division. Thank you so much, my Lord. He has forgiven me for saying that. We also like to welcome in our midst the Chief Judge of Enugu State, the Honorable Justice A. Arrow Ozor Emena. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Also with us is the President of the Customary Court of Appeal in Enugu State, the Honorable Justice G.C. Unnamani. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Governor of Benue State, is Dr. Sam Ode MNI. He's also one of us. With us also is the representative of the Chief of Defense Staff, the General Officer commanding 82 Division, who doubles as the Commander Operation Udo Aka, Major General O.F. Olatoye. Can we welcome him, please? Let us welcome also the Director Legal Services Army, is Colonel S. O. Oke Bukola. You're welcome, sir. We welcome also Major General M.U. Wambai, the Director Legal Services Nigerian Army. Please welcome him.
We'd like to welcome, for the welcome address, the Chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association, Enugu Branch, V.C. Odo Esquire, for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Please, we'd like to ready the Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, AGC 2025 Local Organizing Committee, Ikeazo Akaraiwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to be ready for his own now.
Your Royal Highness, the Emir of Sokoto, the chairman of this occasion, the Sultan of Sokoto, sorry, my lord. The Sultan of Sokoto, I am so sorry, my lord. Your Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Ndubi Simba, and his deputy, my brother Ifeanyi Osai, Mr. President of the Nigerian Bar Association, I and my lords here present, I pray Mr. Chairman to permit me to stand on existing protocol. There is hardly a better moment to be happy than this rare privilege to welcome the who is who in Nigeria, in the legal profession and the guests from the global community. This conference in Enugu tells an uncommon story of what disciplined, principled, wisdom, vision, strong and knowledge-driven leadership can do. I pay glowing tribute to our indomitable President, Mazi Afamzo's National Executive Committee for leading the bar in Nigeria with competence, selflessness, capacity, integrity, and honor. Mr. President's leadership has made members of the Nigerian Bar Association heroes of the rule of law and democracy in Nigeria. If it was business as usual, this conference would not hold in Enugu. In bringing the annual general conference to Enugu 22 years since the last one held in 2003, the leadership of the bar and the annual general conference planning committee wrote, and I quote, consequently, and in alignment with the overwhelming position of NEC and the broader AGC, that is the broader membership, we are compelled to relocate the 2025 annual general conference to a state where constitutional democracy remains intact. End of quote. The Nigerian Bar Association is indeed standing out and standing tall. No less worthy of praise is our pace-setting governor, His Excellency Dr. Peter Ndubuisi, who has not only made it possible for democracy and the rule of law to flourish in Enugu State, but has made Enugu the conference capital of Nigeria. I thank all those who made the hosting of this conference in Enugu possible. I single out our colleagues from Port Harcourt branch and other NBA branches in Rivers State for their understanding and faith in the motto of the Nigerian Bar Association, that is promoting the rule of law. On behalf of the distinguished members of the Nigerian Bar Association Enugu branch and our sister branches of Nsukka, Oji River, Ezago, and Obolafo, I welcome all the conferees, resource persons, distinguished guests, and friends of the bar to enjoy the ambience, friendship, and hospitality of the city on the hill, the cold city state. Thank you so much.
Quickly, we'd like to welcome the Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association 2025 Local Organizing Committee, Ikeazo Akarewe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for his welcome address. 3 minutes.
Your Excellencies, my lords, spiritual and temporal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all salutations duly observed. This conference was originally slated for Port Harcourt. As at September last year, it was known that the conference would be hosted in Port Harcourt. However, it was shifted to Enugu in April this year. Between April and now is 4 months. In 4 months, we have done what others usually do in 12 months. We thank our governor, Mr. Mba, who more or less built this international conference center within 1 year and 8 months of his becoming the governor. We would not have been here but for this international conference center, which is the best in the country. We thank President Afam Osigwe for the courage in appointing Enugu the host of the conference. The decision of the president of the NBA to move the conference from Port Harcourt to Enugu in the face of the egregious decision to appoint a military administrator of Rivers State will go down as one of the most courageous decisions by a president of the NBA. We thank the chairman of the CPC, Dr. Emeka Obegulesien, for his exemplary leadership. In view of the shortness of time between April and now, I am the first to admit that there will be some lapses in the organization here and there. And I apologize on behalf of my LOC for any lapses. But we just request you to remember that 4 months to do this job was really short, whereas others have more than 4 months. We give thanks to the Almighty God who has helped us greatly. I would like to conclude by to just let you all know that Enugu is a beautiful city, one of the most beautiful in the country. Enugu was founded in 1908. And Enugu means on top of the hill. It's actually Enu-Ugu, on top of the hill. And it was a huge farmland. The villagers from the surrounding communities used to climb up the hill to farm in Enu-Ugu. Unknown to them, the black material which used to come out of the soil as they farmed was coal. But the British colonialists, as they went through the nation, they traversed the nation. They observed that black solid stuff and realized it was coal and began to mine it. And the coal attracted so many, and the city of Enugu came into being. The earliest suburb of Enugu is known as the coal camp. And the port in Port Harcourt was built to export the coal in Enugu. And the port was named after Mr. Lewis Harcourt, the secretary of the colonies in England. We welcome you. Before I sit down, I must recognize President Mrs. Hairat Balogun, who is one of our leaders at the bar, the first woman to be General Secretary of the bar. And how can I sit down without recognizing a former chairman of Council of Legal Education, one of our most senior lawyers? Certainly, he was called before I was born. J.H.C. Okolo, S.A. Former chairman of Council of Legal Education, one of our right on the left, and say no to your neighbor. No,
I'm telling you.
And in Enugu, we also have in the dialect here, DJ. Say to your neighbor, DJ no. You're all welcome. God bless you all. Thank you.
Quickly, we'd like for the welcome address, the chairman, the Annual General Conference Planning Committee, Chief Emeka Ebekelu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Your Eminence, Your Excellencies, very distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me rest on established protocol. It is with profound pride and a deep sense of purpose that I welcome you all to the 2025 Annual Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. On behalf of the Planning Committee, I welcome to every one of you leaders, statesmen, legal luminaries, scholars, and visionaries who have traveled to my city, the coast city, to join the legal profession in Nigeria for our annual General Conference, and in doing so, you have embraced the transformative call of our theme to stand out and to stand tall. This theme is not merely a slogan. It is a bold mandate for our profession in these defining times. This theme is a powerful summons for all of us in the legal profession to rise above challenges, distinguish ourselves through excellence, and uphold justice with unwavering courage. To stand out is to rise above the ordinary, to distinguish ourselves through ethics, innovation, expertise, and an unwavering commitment to justice. To stand tall is to embody resilience, integrity, and courage, holding firm to our principles even when the path is steep. As we gather here from August 22nd to 29th, the conference challenges us to redefine what it means to be legal professionals in a world that demands clarity, accountability, and transformative leadership. We are here to redefine the role of the law in shaping a just and equitable future, drawing inspirations from the leaders amongst us who embody what it means to stand out and to stand tall. Today, we are privileged to have a keynote speaker, Mr. Julius Malema. The South African parliamentarian and global voice for social justice, equity, and good governance. Malema stands out as a fearless voice for economic justice, and he stands tall in his unyielding commitment to the marginalized, challenging systems with boldness and clarity. At a time when our democracy demands renewed courage, principled leadership, and bold ideas, Mr. Malema's insight promises to challenge us challenge our perspectives, and inspire us all to stand out and to stand tall. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when we reached out to Julius Malema to present this keynote speech, he made only 2 requests. One is that we must book an appointment for him to visit President Olusegun Obasanjo to convey the gratitude of South Africans to him for the assistance given to them during the apartheid regime. He also made a second request that we should arrange for him to pay a visit to the family of late Ken Saro-Wiwa to enable him pay his last respects to the memory of Ken Saro-Wiwa. Enugu means different things to different people. For me, 042 holds memory of my formative years. From Sacred Heart Nursery School to Ekulu Primary School to College of Immaculate Conception, CIC. Before my law training took me to Anambra State, Enugu, with its rich history, is a perfect stage for this clarion call. Just like the resistance against colonial oppression during the 1949 coal miners' strike in this city, Enugu has long stood out and stood tall in the face of adversity. As the capital of Eastern Nigeria, Eastern region, Enugu was a crucible for legal and political aspirations, shaping Nigeria's constitutional and judicial landscape. Today, Enugu is home to the pioneering Faculty of Law at the University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. Enugu continues to stand as a beacon of legal excellence. Hosting this conference here is therefore a testament to its legacy of resilience and leadership, inspiring us to embody the theme in our deliberations. It challenges us to stand tall in defending justice, just like Enugu coal miners stood tall against exploitation in 1949. We must stand firm against corruption, against inequality, ensuring and against impunity, while ensuring that our courts remain temples of justice. The theme also compels us to stand out and stand tall together. The legal profession thrives on collaboration, and this conference offers for us unparalleled opportunities to connect, share knowledge, and forge partnerships. From networking events to social gatherings, let us build a community that amplifies our collective impact, reflecting the unity symbolized in our conference logo, unveiled on 25th of November 2024. For us as lawyers, under the leadership of Maazia Sigwe, this theme calls on us to stand tall for Nigerian economy. We understand clearly that there can be no wealthy lawyer in a poor economy. The NBA has taken the lead in patronizing conference bags made by a Nigerian company as a signpost of our commitment to the growth of this economy. And this is because we know that our prospective clients in a buoyant economy will have no difficulty complying and embracing with the Remuneration Order 2023. So as long as we ship our jobs outside Nigeria, outside Africa, as long as we export our foreign currency, we cannot have a buoyant economy. Over the next several days, we will engage in a carefully curated program of plenary sessions, technical workshops, and interactive sessions. These will explore not only pressing legal issues, from constitutional reforms and judicial independence, to emerging areas like artificial intelligence, climate law, but also the practical challenges of legal practice in a rapidly changing world. We will interrogate the future of the profession, the role of lawyers in nation building, and the ethical compass that must guide our decisions and actions. Finally, to our distinguished delegates, this conference is for you. I encourage you to participate actively and to connect with colleagues old and new, to challenge your thinking, to share your experiences, and to stand out and to stand tall. Beyond Enugu, into your courts, your boardrooms, your classrooms, and your communities. I encourage all delegates to immerse yourselves fully in the sessions, network meaningfully, and also take time to enjoy the beauty and culture of Enugu State. On behalf of the Annual General Conference Planning Committee, I extend our deepest gratitude to the President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mazi Afam Osigwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Life Bencher, a man whose vision for an inclusive and impactful conference has shaped our work. We thank our national officers, the National Executive Committee, our partners, sponsors, and staff of the NBA Secretariat. We thank the chairman of the LOC and the local organizing committee. As a proud Enugu boy, indeed, tomorrow is here. We thank the man who has demonstrated the power of transformative leadership. Governor Peter Mba planned and executed this conference with us. He set up an interministerial committee for the first time in MBA conference hosting. The governor set up an interministerial committee with mandate to support the seamless execution of the conference program with logistical support that are invaluable. Your Excellency, we are grateful. You did not support us because you're a lawyer. You supported us because you understand the economy of conferences, and that by supporting us, you're supporting your state. We encourage your vision, and we thank you for the support. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Planning Committee for this conference, we offer our unreserved apology for any defects you might have observed in the plans leading to this conference. We are mere humans. But we appeal to you to find a place in your heart to understand that it took 4 months in a city that has never hosted conference for the past 23 years. What the team and the governor did is nothing short of miracle. I urge us to keep standing out and to keep standing tall. Thank you very much, and may God bless us.
The chairman of the Annual General Conference is truly and really standing out and standing tall. Thank you so very much, sir. I'd like us to actually stand tall now. Ladies and gentlemen, please, with a standing ovation, I'd like to welcome the 32nd President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mazi Afam Osigwe Josiah, which is his middle name, SAN, as he makes his remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. Please sit. I would have loved to adopt the already established protocol because Mr. Julius Malema, our keynote speaker, has to leave here this evening in a short while because he has to catch a plane back to South Africa. But that would be unkind if I fail to recognize His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Simba, the Deputy Governor of Enugu State, and the Deputy Governor of Benue State, who are here, and the Sultan of Sokoto, who is the chairman of this occasion, Saad Abubakar III. If you're looking at his dressing, you may be forgiven for not knowing that he retired as a general, brigadier general in the Nigerian Army. And Mr. Malema, I will acknowledge you some more when I present my address. And distinguished colleagues, please, everybody is special to us and you're duly recognized. But I must also personally recognize the GOC 82nd Division, General Oti Olatoye, yes, who is also here in his personal capacity as well as representative of the Chief of Defense Staff. All protocols are hereby duly adopted. I address you with great honor and joy at this opening ceremony of the Nigerian Bar Association Annual General Conference here in the historic and lively city of Enugu. Enugu is fondly referred to as a coal city. It is a treasure trove of history, culture, and natural beauty. It is a city built on hills and surrounded by crouching hills. Breathtaking waterfall, intriguing caves, scenic beauty, and some of the best local eateries for serving oba, abacha, achicha, fio, and many other local delicacies. Of course, not to be forgotten are the Udi, Enugu Ezike, and Igbo Etiti palm wines. Enugu holds a special place in the country's development, playing a significant role in the coal mining industry that once flourished here. The city's legacy of resilience and transformation inspires us as we gather under the theme of this conference, Stand Out, Stand Tall. The city is known for standing out and standing tall. On the 18th day of November 1949, the city witnessed the Colliery Massacre, also known as the Eva Valley shooting. On that day, a British Superintendent of Police, F.S. Philip, who I'm sure may go down in the Hall of Infamy, commanding several British and Nigerian police officers, ordered the shooting of unarmed and protesting coal miners of the Eva Valley coal mine, who were on strike. 21 striking miners and a bystander were shot dead. The miners were fighting for wage arrears, owed to them for a period of casualization. The ethnic, regional, and even class divisions in Nigerian society were temporarily set aside and supplanted by a collective momentum to do away with British rule. The shooting fueled sentiments among many Nigerians, and especially among Eastern Nigerian groups, who used the shooting to fuel their cause for independence and to push the British imperial administration out of Nigeria. According to Ndukeze, and I quote, the radicals and the moderates, the revolutionaries and the stooges, the bourgeoisies and the workers sang their differences, remembered the word Nigeria, and rose in revolt against evil and inhumanity. The Eva Valley coal miners made tough choices to redefine themselves, enduring challenges to emerge stronger. The theme is more than a slogan. It is a charge to stand out, to be visible, not for show, but for service, excellence, resilience, dedication, focus, perseverance, and service to prosper. To stand tall is to uphold dignity, integrity, and honor, even when the odds are stacked high and difficult decisions must be made in the best interest of the legal profession and the country. Standing tall means being unbending in our defense of the rule of law, equity and justice, and being principled in the face of power and unwavering in our pursuit of national progress. We must have the courage of conviction in moments where silence would otherwise be more comfortable. To build a strong and economically viable nation, sacrifice will routinely be required of individual citizens. We must do this when others are mediocre. This is a call we must embrace. Dear compatriots, leadership, as we say, is not a popularity contest. Competent leadership requires understanding of issues, vision, and the courage to make decisions that will help to take the people from one situation or place to a surpassing one. It requires forward thinking, focusing on development projects that will position our country as a global city. The show off that will position our country as a global city. The show of decisive or determination may be misunderstood if the leader decides to chart a course or disparate direction to a desired exceptional future. Leadership must stand out by crafting solutions that unlock Nigerians' potential and stand tall by making the tough decisions. As Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum said, try to achieve the impossible and direct your people to ways of achieving it. Stand out, stand tall is therefore an inspirational call to the legal profession to lead with distinction, sacrifice, determination, and resilience. It challenges us to rise above ordinary, deliver excellence, and make the difficult decisions necessary to secure Nigeria's future. For Nigerian lawyers and leaders, standing out means pioneering innovative solutions for justice and economic progress. Standing tall means embracing tough choices, enduring their immediate challenges, and trusting in all their ultimate benefits. We must be seen as spectators, not as spectators, but as leaders in the movement to revive Nigeria's economy, restore public trust, and reposition our country for greatness. That is what it means to stand out. That is what it means to stand tall. No economy ever stood tall on imported effort. Indeed, no economy stood out in mere consumerism. Let the conference inspire a fresh resolve that in every courtroom, boardroom, chamber, and community we touch, we will lead with excellence, with courage, and with vision. At this defining moment in our nation's history, where our democracy continues to evolve and our economic realities challenge us daily, we must collectively ask, how can the legal profession stand out in rebuilding confidence in our institutions? How can we lead national conversations that truly matter? It is for this reason that we are honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Julius Malema, the President of the Economic Freedom Fighters of South Africa. We'll get there. He's eager to let us listen to him. The choice of Julius Malema as our keynote speaker is born out of his unwavering and consistent advocacy, challenging Africa to rethink its economic destiny by advocating economic emancipation and social justice. It is a privilege to have Mr. Malema as our keynote speaker. He comes with many years of fearless advocacy for economic freedom. Mr. Malema has reshaped South Africa's political landscape by championing the marginalized and confronting systemic inequalities through the EFF. His call for bold, often painful decisions offers a powerful lens for Nigerians' aspirations. His push for systemic change in South Africa urges us to ask, how can our legal system empower entrepreneurs, protect workers, and ensure equitable access to opportunities? His advocacy for economic freedom speaks directly to the urgent conversation we must have in Nigeria. Whether one agrees with his methods or not, his consistent call for Africans to own their economies, reclaim their dignity, and define their destiny resonates deeply with our theme. His presence here today reminds us that a legal profession does not exist in a vacuum. We are part of a broader African movement, a movement for economic sovereignty, justice, and true independence. We eagerly anticipate his insights on how the legal profession can drive economic transformation through tough but transformative choices. Nigeria must make serious decisions for economic growth, and this include anti-corruption measures, regulatory overhaul, investment in infrastructure, technological innovations and digital literacy, diversification of the economy. These decisions may inflict pain and will inflict pain, disrupting established systems, challenging vested interests, and requiring sacrifices from citizens, institutions alike. However, history shows that such decisions, history shows that such pain is often the precursor to progress. By enduring short-term challenges, Nigeria can achieve lasting improvements, a thriving agricultural sector, a transparent economy, and an environment where every citizen has a fair shot at prosperity. The NBA, as a conscience of the legal profession, must also make tough choices to lead Nigerian transformation by reforming legal education, expanding access to justice, advocating for judicial independence, embracing legal technology, to mention a few. These choices may not be easy. They may restrain resources, spark internal debates, or challenge long-standing practices. But by standing tall through these difficulties, the NBA can lead the legal profession to new heights, ensuring that we are not just practitioners, but catalysts for Nigerians' growth and development. The NBA has a storied legacy of defending human rights and judicial independence. I particularly, therefore, in ending my address, acknowledge the support and presence of our host governor, Governor Peter Ndubi Simba, who did everything possible to make sure that today has become the reality it is. And I also thank His Eminence, who at great inconvenience to himself, having been traveling between Sokoto and Zuru to condole with the family of the late Emir of Zuru, took a last-minute decision to be here and made a wonderful presentation that I believe has inspired others. It inspired me. Your Eminence, we are very grateful. And numerous other dignitaries who have made this day the beautiful day has become. We can't thank you enough. I once more warmly thank our distinguished keynote speaker, whose bold decision for economic justice and African unity will help set the tone for conversation on how we confront Nigerians' economic challenges. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the NBA Annual General Conference Planning Committee, the leadership of the NBA Enugu branch, the local organizing committee, and all the other branches in Enugu State. Your dedication has created a platform for us to reflect, inspire, and act. Over the next few days, we engage with thought leaders from law, governance, economics, technology, and civil society, and encourage us to participate. Let this city inspire us to embrace the difficult decisions like the Eva Valley coal miners, that we unlock Nigerians' economic potential and strengthen our profession, knowing that the pain of today will yield the prosperity of tomorrow. May our deliberations be bold, our resolutions transformative, and our commitment to justice unwavering. I welcome you all once again to the 2025 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association. Let us stand out, let us stand tall, and let us move Nigeria forward. Thank you, and may God bless all of us.
Please, another round of applause for that. Straight from the heart talk. We're winding to a close, and we'll have two speakers before we invite His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Enugu State, to open officially this event. And so may I invite Comrade Deji Adeyanju to introduce the keynote speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me appreciate His Excellency for making out time to join us here today, and also the Executive Governor of Enugu State and leaders in the profession, all protocols duly observed. My job here today is very simple and also very hard at the same time. Simple because I've been saddled with the responsibility of introducing a man, a Pan-Africanist, a true son of Africa that I can resonate with. I resonate with his ideology, but very difficult at the same time because I've been given less than 2 minutes to make such an introduction. So indeed, it is a Herculean task. Here before us today at the Annual General Conference is a man, a true son of Africa, a Pan-Africanist, a shining light of resistance, whose exploits at promoting transparency, constitutionalism, accountability, and rule of law are too numerous to mention. He continues to fight against inequality, corruption, oppression in South Africa. His loud voice of reason continues to echo across the continent. He continually agitates for South Africans to see Africans as their brothers and not their enemies. He is a powerful voice, not only in South Africa, but on the continent and globally. Julius Malema is our keynote speaker for the annual conference, and he brings his wealth of experience as a resistance and a movement leader in South Africa. He was the former president of the ANC Youth League, and he is the current president of the Economic Freedom Fighters in South Africa, a movement and a political party that resists oppression and corruption and continues to challenge unconstitutionalism in South Africa. his sacrifices in South Africa and the continent has come at great cost. Cost of arrest, persecution, and intimidation. But Julius Malema continues to stand tall. Join me as I welcome this true son of Africa, this Pan-Africanist, and a man for all seasons, Julius Malema.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to greet the governor of Enugu, to greet the Sultan of Sokoto. Let me greet the president of Nigeria Bar Association. We are here because of your capable leadership, and we are happy that we are home here in Nigeria. The leadership collective of the Nigerian Bar Association, who have honored me with an invitation to this esteemed occasion, I greet you all. I further greet all members of the Nigerian Bar Association who are present here today, representing the legal fraternity of this great country, which remains a friend and ally of South Africa and her people. I'm humbled that you saw it fit to invite me to give an address to annual general conference, and by extension, that you saw it necessary to invite the EFF to give this keynote address. I imagine it was not an easy for a group of members of the law profession to reach consensus on who will address them, because your profession by nature is one of robust debate and contestation. So I understand here today. I stand here today proud because I know I'm a product of a robust debate and agreement by people who find it difficult to agree amongst themselves. Comrades and friends, the link between the legal profession and the cause for liberation cannot be separated. Because just like us, you are instruments of justice. While we wage our battle for freedom in the picket lines, through activism, protest, and participation in governance, it is you, the members of the legal profession, who interpret the laws we make, who practice the justice we seek to achieve, and who fight tirelessly for those who cannot defend themselves in the courts of law. It is a profession characterized by sacrifice, intellect, and a commitment to interpretation of the past in order to achieve justice, fairness, and victory, those who cannot defend themselves in the courts of law. To interpret the past in order to achieve justice, fairness, and victory in the present. We have a history and dialectical materialism to guide us into leading society towards a better tomorrow. And for the legal profession, you have indigenous law, common constitution, and statute, an objective reality to achieve not only personal victory, but to establish collectively laws that will govern others for decades to come. Our duty, however, and primary responsibility is not to maintain laws simply because they exist as they are today. Our duty is not to be instruments of injustice and neocolonialism. It is to be agents of change, and this demands of us to be brave enough to identify unjust laws, speak out, and form part of those that work tirelessly for our judiciary to be of service to our people. I say this not to encourage anarchy or lawlessness, but to draw us back to the difficult truth and reality that at times the laws has been used as a weapon of oppression. It has taken lawyers and activists to walk side by side, hand in hand, to stand up against laws that perpetuate the undermining of the dignity of the people. And we must all be alive to this history and this possibility today. This becomes even more important for us as Africans because for centuries, our very existence has been unlawful in the eyes of the oppressor. Our indigenous laws have been treated as inferior to Roman Dutch law or English law. To be an African has meant that for generations we are not worthy of the laws and the rights that make us human beings. And for that reason, it was legal to abuse us, to enslave us, to steal our mineral wealth and oil, and to destroy and kill our heritage, history, and even our lives. The legal profession you belong to, the political system we belong to, the judiciary and parliaments were created without us in mind. They were crafted at our exclusion and built to sustain our suffering. We now sit in the corridors which were built to break the back and the soul of African people. The demand then from those who died at the hands of this institution that we now serve is that we transform them so that they become instruments of the people. The demand then from those who died at the hands of this institute to maintain the status quo, but we are here to make our profession serve the African child. I wish to remind you that it was once legal to come to the shores of our great continent and kidnap Africans and enslave us in foreign lands. It was once legal to rape African women and children because they did not have the right to dignity of their European oppressors. It was once legal to take our land and our minerals because, according to the law of the white man, we were not civilized enough to control our own land and our own wealth. In South Africa, our freedom, our oppression, our resistance all had law at the center of it. Under apartheid, it was legal to restrict the movement of Africans to labor reserves called townships and to teach us inferior education so that we could only be servants of white masters. All of those problems were legal, and it took brave men and women to say that if the oppression of Africans is lawful, then such a law is unjust and must be opposed. Today, as our continent is troubled by corruption, leaders who utilize state machinery to sustain their rule at the expense of the poor and the African lives in abject poverty, a question we all ought to ask ourselves is whether the time for the legal profession and the activists to once again stand up for what is right. We must all ask ourselves whether the time has not once again arrived for liberation to be achieved against the sale of our nation to recolonization, and whether this fight must not begin by reimagining our laws for the better. We must therefore reach into this deep history of resistance and solidarity which is shared by our two nations in order to achieve the goal of restoring the humanity of Africa and her people. My brothers and sisters, the humanity of Africa is at the center of what the EFF stands for. We are an organization that was formed in 2013 purely out of the demands of the people of South Africa who wanted an alternative to the former liberation movement to achieve economic freedom in our lifetime. We are an organization which is born out of the blood of slain mine workers in an area known as Marikana, where 34 miners were shot down execution style and the 13th anniversary of their execution was this month on the 16th of August 2025. Yet the families have not seen any justice. No one has answered for this grave injustice. It is out of this deep pain and disregard for African life that the domestic workers, miners, gardeners, petrol attendants, street dwellers, university students, professionals, and ordinary people of South Africa demanded that we form the economic freedom fighters. We were formed to complete the liberation struggle, which was faced by compromised, betrayal, and corruption of the mission for the return of the land and wealth of South Africa to the hands of the people. As a result, we base our struggle on these lived realities, and we are guided by a scientific ideological outlook of Marxism, Leninism, and the teachings of Frantz Fanon. Fanon, in the context of Africa, becomes most important as we face with a continent that is becoming more and more dependent on the former colonial master, and our liberation movement abandoned the struggle which led to the formation in favor of life of opulence while the people suffer. We are Marxist because we believe in the inherent need of an alternative economic system to capitalism, and we use the science of dialectics to wage our struggle for liberation. We are Leninist because we believe in the need for a vanguard party of the people to lead the struggle, one which believes in internal democracy and the waging of struggle in parliament, the judiciary, and at the grassroots level. We are anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist, anti-sexist organization which believes in democracy and socialism as a means of uplifting ordinary masses of our people. At the foundation of the EFF are what we refer to as the 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars, which are expropriation of South Africa's land without compensation for equal distribution in use, nationalization of mines, banks, and other strategic sectors of the economy without compensation, building state and government capacity, which will lead to abolishment of tenders, free decolonized education, healthcare, houses, and sanitation, massive protected industrial development to create millions of sustainable jobs, including introduction of minimum wages in order to close the wage gap between the rich and the poor, massive development of African economy, and advocating for a move from reconciliation to justice in the entire continent. Open, accountable, corrupt-free government, and society without fear of victimization by state agencies. These are briefly the guiding principles which make us, as the EFF, a revolutionary movement. Compatriots, the need to do away with injustice of the past demand that we create laws for the future, because independence does not automatically mean that infrastructure of our legal system itself becomes independent. Our duty as lawmakers, as practitioners post-independence, demands of us to scrutinize existing laws and, where necessary, make amendments or even introduce new laws to liberate our people from the parasitic oppression that they are exposed to. The EFF, which has been in Parliament of South Africa since 2014, is engaged in this practice, and we have been able to implement our vision, mission, and identity into our approach to governance and lawmaking. A few examples of how we have interpreted what needs to change at the level of governance and legislation in South Africa to enhance the cause for liberation is the introduction of the bills that we have put before Parliament. The nationalization of the Reserve Bank Bill, which seeks to place full control of South Africa's Reserve Bank, particularly monetary policy, in the hands of the state. Further to this bill introduced by the EFF in Parliament seeks to broaden the mandate of the Reserve Bank in South Africa, which currently has private shareholding, towards alleviating unemployment and curbing economic stagnation, which is due to the Reserve Bank conservative and financial sector-orientated policy outlook. The Public Finance Management Amendment Bill will in South Africa deal with the problem facing the whole continent, and that is the unregulated borrowing of the money by our government from the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. This bill, which we have introduced as the EFF, will require that National Treasury in South Africa first seek approval from Parliament to source foreign loans and establish transparency regarding such loans and their conditionalities. The debt trap of Africa to our foreign colonizers must be stopped, and that begins by regulating these loans that our leaders commit future generations to, because they will not be there when the colonizers come to collect. The Student Debt Cancellation Bill is a piece of legislation introduced by the EFF to ease the debt burden of young students who cannot access their qualification, seek employment using their qualification, or pursue postgraduate studies because their qualifications are withheld due to debt. Student debt is an obstacle to the youth who have no source of income because they cannot access their degrees, and equally cannot generate a source of income because they cannot prove that they are qualified due to their qualification being withheld. The need to unlock this qualification possesses a major opportunity to grow our expertise in our country and promote education to be at the center of our developmental objective. Insourcing Bill seeks to do away with the exploitation of labor brokers and consultancy firms which are draining the public finance of government in South Africa. In our country, the most basic of service which ought to be conducted through internal capacity are done on contractual basis and at inflated prices. The policy of outsourcing is at the center of corruption as politicians establish companies to provide services such as cleaning, security services, accounting services, maintenance services, and many more to government at a ridiculous rate. How can you issue a tender to buy toilet paper? How come Director General doesn't know where the toilet papers are being sold and go and buy the toilet papers himself instead of issuing out a tender that is unnecessary? There are certain things that can be done by the government without involving the outside players. We don't want alcohol advertised in South Africa because they advertise alcohol through the means that is not a true reflection of alcohol. Why are you not advertising alcohol with drunkards and show people what alcohol will do to them? It cannot be that alcohol is advertised only with beautiful people at the beach. It must be a true reflection of what this will do to you. We have done the same before by banning the advertisement of cigarette in South Africa, and what is to follow is alcohol. The EFF is also engaged in many other programs that seeks to empower our own communities and make sure that there is local procurement. Why should a person in Enugu should go and buy vegetables in Lagos? They must buy where they are to promote local economy and to promote their own economic growth. We cannot allow a situation where people who do not come from where we come from are actually not benefiting from what their government can provide. Compatriots, I must reiterate once again that it is a deep honor to stand before you today in Nigeria, in Enugu State, a country that holds a special place in the hearts of all South Africans who understand history, who value solidarity, who appreciate the sacrifice made by others in the cause of our freedom. Nigeria is not just another African country to us. It is a comrade nation, one that stood firmly by our side during our darkest hour. When South Africa was shackled by apartheid, when our people were murdered, imprisoned, and denied basic humanity, Nigeria rose as a giant for justice, placing South Africa squarely at the center of its foreign policy. Former President Murtala Mohammed famously declared that Africa had come of age that the continent will no longer tolerate interference from outside powers, and this still rings true today. Nigeria set up the Southern African Relief Fund, mobilizing its citizens to contribute to the liberation struggle, even as it faced its own challenges at home. These initiatives raised millions of dollars to support the liberation of South Africa. People paid directly from their salaries to contribute to the liberation of the people of South Africa. Nigerian students sacrificed a portion of their income through the Mandela Tax, which supported an educational training program for black South Africans, and successive Nigerian governments never stopped in their material and moral support for South Africa's liberation. In fact, Nigerian government boycotted the 1976 Olympic Games and the 1979 Commonwealth Games in protest and in opposition to apartheid government. We cannot forget all those who stood by us during difficulty. We forget that when Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990, one of his earliest international visit was to Lagos and Abuja to personally thank the Nigerian people. This gesture are foundation of a bond sealed in blood and sacrifice. However, this history must not remain in the past. This bond between South Africa and Nigeria must be carried forward into the present, not just in political sentiment, but in concrete economic collaboration.